Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Today I am using a sketch that is up in the upper right hand corner, and this is going to be a 12 by 12 layout. The sketch is from Scrapbook Challenges. However, it was used on the Redefined Creative and Secret Not Secret Kit Club Facebook group, and it was on their public page, so this challenge is open to everybody, but this is last week's sketch. If you're interested in doing their Thursday night challenge, you'll have to go over to the Facebook group or Facebook page and find out what the current sketch is. So I will try and see if I can put a link to that in the comments down below. So I'm using these 4 photos. I've cut them at 3 by 3, and that is what the sketch says. However, I do end up cutting them down by 1/8 of an inch on 2 of the sides, because when I put them on my 12 by 12 paper, they went all the way to the edges without any space in between them, and I wanted to have a little bit of space in between them as the sketch calls for. Now this little bin of paper is a stack of paper that I am trying to work my way through. So pretty much besides any kits that I have or anything like that, I am trying to go through this stack of paper and use up what I can. So I pulled out that brown paper that you see, the second one down, and I don't end up using that. I end up using some craft cardstock, which I've not used in ages, but there was a little pile of it in that bin that I was working with. And then I've pulled out these yellow and orange pattern papers to be the strips of paper that are reflected in the sketch. Originally on my desk I had some old paper from Cartabella from 2013, which I originally thought I was going to use, but as soon as I took out the photos I knew I wasn't going to, so that paper went back into that bin, and I'm going to try using it. Some of this paper is from, let's see here, I know what, the last page that I'm going to cut, it's a green one, and it's from Prima, and it's from 2010. And honestly, I don't remember where all of the rest are. I think that one right there is from Fancy Pants. I don't know how old, but it's ancient. It's really old paper. So, but it is still the thicker stuff. It's not the really thin stuff from that we had in the early 2000s or late 90s. So I went ahead and cut those into strips, and you saw me measure my photos and find out how large those strips should be. So I wanted it to take up a little bit less than half of the space that the photo takes up, because I want to allow for a little bit of a border in between each element. So between the papers and between the photos, I wanted just that little tiny border of craft to be able to peek through. And this layout actually came together really quickly for me, and I really like how it came out. I haven't used the craft cardstock in ages, but since these are camping photos, it works out perfectly. I think it goes really well with camping photos. So that was kind of what made my decision. So this was a camping trip that I did with my Girl Scout troop, and my son went with us. And this was for one of our regional, or maybe it's a state park. It's Henrico Park in California, and they have an annual tarantula migration that occurs the first couple of weekends in October, and my Girl Scout troop really wanted to check that out. Yeah, these girls definitely were not afraid of spiders or snakes or anything like that. The unfortunate thing was that the only tarantula we saw was the one that was in the cage that the park ranger had. Apparently we weren't there, well, we were there during the right weekend, but we weren't maybe in the right area, or the tarantulas weren't migrating right at the time we were there. So we didn't get to see any in the wild. They were bummed about that, but it was totally okay with me. I mean, I don't mind if we don't see tarantulas. So that was basically what I'm documenting in this layout. Now I am taking off a little bit on all 4 sides of the layout, because I want to have a tiny bit of border that matches that paper that's at the bottom, the one with the most orange in it. And also when I laid my photos down, they were not perfectly centered, so this made them so that they were nice and centered and everything matches the way it should be. And I am gutting this paper, not because I necessarily want to keep it for anything specific. It'll go into my scrap bin, but I'm gutting it because the layout's going to be super heavy. Well, not super heavy, but heavy enough that it doesn't really need the center part of the paper. And why not? It's got some good colors on it, and I know it's old and I wanted to use it up, but it will go into my scrap bin. So I end up using stuff out of my scrap bin all the time for cards and um, layering. So I do like to keep bits of paper in there that would be perfect for layering and that add just color and design to it. So I've gone through my thickers and pulled out a couple of different styles. You can see them in the stacks on each side. And I'm going to end up with this one that looks like cork, and it's just going to say Henry Coe, and that's the name of the park. And then this dark brown one that says Tarantula. And then I pulled some round stickers, these ones in my hand here. They have letters printed on them, so they kind of look like typewriter heads. Those are from the Paper Studio, so that's Hobby Lobby's brand. And I've had those in my stash a long time too. So it just reads Henry Coe Tarantula Festival. And then off screen, I ran a stitch in dark brown all the way around my craft cardstock. So you can see that there's a stitch all the way around it. Now I have a lot of my embellishments sorted by color, and I haven't been using my color boxes lately just because I've been working from some kits, but this is the perfect opportunity to pull out anything in the earth tones. So I went through my box here, pulled out stuff that I thought would fit perfectly, and that's basically where I went with this layout. I do have some odds and ends that are in cork. I have some cork arrows, some cork hearts that you see there. I don't end up using the arrows, but I do end up using 2 of those hearts, the smaller size. I don't end up using the boot. The boot added another color it had a blue in it, which could match my daughter's shirt, but I didn't want to add any other blue elements to the page, so I decided not to use either one of those boot stickers, and I don't use the campfire sticker either. So this layout is pretty simple. That doesn't require a ton of embellishments just because it's got, the colored or the patterned paper does a lot for it. And then between the title work that I did and then the journaling that I'm going to do, it doesn't really need a whole lot more than that. So basically my journaling is going to consist of the story that I just told you, that we went up there looking for some tarantulas and we did not find any other than that one that the ranger held, but we had a good time anyway. These girls always have fun together, and my son went along as well. He's in Cub Scouts at the time, and they all had a blast just hanging out together. So I did pop up the 2 horizontal stickers onto some foam tape, and then I'm going to use some Heidi Swap Color Shine and sprinkle that around the embellishment areas and the title, and that is pretty much going to take care of this layout. If you have questions or comments, go ahead and leave those down below. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked and you're not a subscriber. I appreciate that. And I will get back to any comments that you might leave or questions that you might leave down below as quickly as I can. I will see you next time. And I apologize for not having a video available last weekend. We were out of town for Memorial Day and I got a little bit behind on some things. So hopefully I'm back on track, and I will see you next week. And the close-ups are coming up in just a few moments. Thanks again. See you soon.